No, pues well, you're back. It's Mia,
And Nia,
and welcome back to another episode of.
the No Pues Wow podcast.
Today, we're going to be talking about.
Growing from chaos. So, yeah, we're just gonna cover like how we grew up in chaos, as in like either family, in the schools, or like friends, I'm guessing, and like church, or just any kind of chaos that you had to like go through. That's what we'll be covering today. Do you want to
Okay.
go ahead and start?
Yeah, I'll start with one from church. I'll start easy. I feel like kind of the way that it's like kind of transformed me and stuff. It's just like we went to a church that was very like religious and very like head on to like the beliefs and like a little bit into myself. I'm Seventh Day Adventist, so with that comes a lot of things like like eating meat and drinking alcohol and all this stuff that a traditional Seventh Day Adventist person does. So obviously growing up Seventh Day Adventist was really hard because none of the people I knew were Seventh Day Adventist. And then I'd have to like specify, oh, I can't go out on Saturday. Like if I'm out on Friday, I can only be out till this time, and all this, and they'd be like, what? And I think it was just really hard, but I think the way that I am now and the way that I feel now about church is definitely because of the way that that church kind of treated me and my family. So kind of like going into that, one of my siblings did get pregnant at a very young age. I wouldn't say it was too young because now it's like the
Kind of
age that
normalized in
everyone,
a way,
yeah.
yeah.
So she was like 17, almost 18, and like she wasn't married to the guy, and it was kind of like the talk of the town, kind of.
Especially the church,
The
huh?
church, yeah. Like for sure the church. And we had a very big name there and everyone knew us and we had been part of the congregation for so long, ever since I was 2 actually. So I was really little.
You were raised
I
there.
grew up there,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, it was just really hard because they kind of just turned their back on us and really just judged us so freely. Like without hiding it. And I
They
mean,
had
props
to
to
like
them for not hiding it, but
yeah, like they always had to have an opinion.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And like they do, I don't know if this is what they do at other churches, but they have like a book of life, quote unquote, and like they have everyone's name in there. And like now that I think about it, that sounds so weird. That sounds so like cultish, book of
Mm.
life. And they have everyone's name in there and they like definitely like they told her like we're gonna erase yours because like you sinned and like this church is very
Yeah, I've
like
never heard about
straight on.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely has changed now.
Mm.
It was definitely rough, and, like, I feel like I'm definitely still angry about it because sometimes I go to that church and I, like, see people that definitely gave her shade, and I'm like, "Well, look at you." Like, I'm definitely not a good, follower of Christ when it comes to this, but I'm like, "Well, look at you. You got 2 divorces?" And I'm a little shady back because it's like, "That's my sibling. You literally, like, said so much stuff to her face, to my parent, like, made my parents feel horrible that they were like standing beside her and helping her raise a baby. And it was like that for a really long time to the point where my mom just really wouldn't even go to church anymore. Like she was like, I don't want to. Like this is not what I thought this was. I've been so supportive with everyone else. I thought we were there to support each other and what a church is
A
supposed to be.
community.
Yeah, exactly. And she just didn't feel that way. Like she didn't feel that reciprocated and her cup was never being filled and she was constantly filling others. So she decided to take a step back, and of course, the little 6-year-old me that I am, I was very attached to my mom, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going either," you know? And yeah, no, we stepped back for quite a bit. My dad would go because it's just how who my dad is. But when we eventually started going, it was never the same, and I don't think it's the same now. Like I always think about that, and just also like how going to a traditional church affects someone. I feel like that's also the reason why a lot of people don't believe nowadays.
Mm.
Because I definitely was pushed to almost not believe,
Mhm.
but definitely now my approach to churches are very different. I have a very strong opinion, and people now might not really agree with me on my opinions, but I think it definitely made me grow to be who I am now and kind of have my boundaries with certain things. I definitely don't think like my church's congregation does.
Mhm.
But I think that was like a growing experience and it was kind of chaotic. Definitely like being pulled from side to side, like this is wrong, and like having to feel that, see your parents feel that way, and feel kind of like embarrassed and like making them feel ashamed about all that stuff. And also my sister, I mean, she was a single mom, like teen mom. That was like horrible to
Yeah.
have to go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of my scenarios.
Dang, okay. I mean, since we're in the like the church topic,
Hmm.
I mean, whenever me growing up, my family and I were very a part of the church as well.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if I want to say what kind of church it was, just because now I'm like very interesting type of church, you know.
Hmm.
But it's definitely at the time it didn't feel that way. But there was a lot of things that they did or like would always have to opinionate towards you or your family or
Hmm.
anybody else, and it's just kind of like okay, like
Yeah.
we're taught to be the complete opposite, and yet you guys are doing the complete opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. For me, my like we were really a part of the church, and it was definitely a small like where I grew up. It was a small. Okay, how do I explain this? This church is big
Hmm.
in Cali,
Hmm.
and there were some people here that started a church here from that organization. I guess
Okay.
does that make sense? I don't know. So basically, we were small. We were a very small church, and like too small to the point where like most of our services were like houses and homes until we got a building.
Okay.
So yeah, but basically, because I guess of how small it was, when I was a very young, at a very young age and stuff, they would definitely see me as like this highly God driven, like they already had a label on me of like being the good girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like following every rule and doing this and doing that, which to a point is good, but to another extent is just kind of like you feel like you're being watched,
Yeah, you're
you
being
know?
put on a pedestal that you haven't even reached yet.
Yeah. And you feel like the littlest thing that you do, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, like she did this and that is so not right. And, so you kind of in some way feel like you have to be a certain way, right? So for me, definitely for a little point, it was like that. Not necessarily for them exactly. I knew I mean, they expected that from me, but it was more of like because I thought that was how it was supposed to be in a way.
Hmm.
Like I thought that maybe was how God wanted it to be, or like the right way, or like
Hmm.
if I did do something, then like I'd be sinning basically, like that's how it felt. So growing up, there was like one point I was just kind of like, you know what? I don't, I don't correlate with everything that they say or do or teach or whatever. So I like slowly was like, I respected them, but I was very much like, okay, whatever they think, whatever they do, no me importa, like
Hmm.
I'm doing this for myself and my own journey and my spiritual with God. You know what I mean? It's me and him, not me, him, and everybody else.
Hmm.
And it's like I don't know. It's just like I didn't want to be this perfect little person that everybody wanted me to be.
Hmm.
Like I'm human. I definitely do make mistakes here and there and learn from them and stuff. But it's just like growing up, it definitely felt like I was watched in every little single way, and I couldn't make mistakes.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of weird. There was like I think it was during COVID where obviously during COVID everywhere shut down. A lot of churches weren't even having services or they would have them online and stuff like that. And they started having them online or like not very often. I don't remember. But basically my family and I slowly started to kind of like leave the church in a way. And um there was one night, I was talking to my mom and I was like, "Look, like the whole time during quarantine, we weren't going to a church, right? But we were still like listening to um services and stuff like that and everything and like basically growing our connection, right? But whenever COVID was kind of like passing, we were like, okay, like they're gonna start having services in person. Like, are we gonna go? Whatever,
Mhm.
And I straight up like one night I told my mom I was like, look, listen, I personally, I don't think I'll be going back to that church.
Mhm.
I was like, if you guys do, that's completely fine. I mean, because that's their journey. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna bash somebody for going anywhere. I mean, if God has them there, it's for a reason, right? And basically, I was straight up with my mom. I was like, look, I personally feel like I'm being drawn somewhere else, or I'm not as comfortable as I was, or I'm not okay with certain things, or I simply view things differently than them, and I don't want to pretend like they're right
Mhm.
whenever, yeah, I'm feeling a certain way. So basically, they agreed with me. They're like, you know what, like you're not the only one. We've been thinking the same thing. And remember, we were like really like we were leaders there. I would teach some classes there. I like was in the choir for a little bit there. Like I was
Yeah.
like very we were very involved and
It's always the places you're very involved
yeah,
in,
and
like,
so
heavily.
yes, and so definitely was a hard switch for a lot of us, especially my mom and I. Especially because the pastor, she was somebody very important to her.
Mhm.
Like she was there for her in certain times and stuff. Like obviously it's not easy to let go of somebody that was there during hard moments.
Mhm.
So um, basically, after COVID, we decided not to go. We decided to grow our own individual connections in our spiritual journey with God, without having to feel like we have to follow every single rule, especially if they're doing the complete opposite. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't like. I feel like there might be more, but I don't know where I'll have to think about it, I guess.
Yeah. I think another one that I didn't think I was gonna talk about today, I really didn't even come into, like, question
hmm
till right now, but I was like, I can't believe I talked about, like, the church I still kinda go to
hmm
over this one, and I feel like you know about this one a lot,
I
but
think I know a little bit, but not too much. But then again, like I said, it's like you have your own reasonings to go to certain places and stuff, and
yeah.
that's completely fine. Like you do
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
But I've gotten to the point where like wherever I do go, and if I do go, I'm gonna go there for myself and not for to like I'm not going for pride. I'm not going for ego. I'm not going to feel this is me personally. I'm not going to feel like I have to be accepted by them
Mhm.
because I truly believe that like we're here to really just grow that connections individually in a way.
Mhm.
And the church definitely is there to build a community and stuff, but if you feel like it's not or you don't
Working.
feel as
Yeah.
comfortable or if they do things that you don't align with, it's definitely okay to step back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kinda like my second thing. I did go to a church that I never thought I'd go to. That's
Mhm.
one thing. I never thought I'd go to a church like this. It was in English. I'm very used to like Spanish speaking churches just because, that's what my parents spoke
Yeah.
and all this. And then I just feel more like the way that I think about God is in Spanish. And I think it's so funny. Like if I pray, like at night, like it's in Spanish, unless
Mhm.
I'm like around people who speak English. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to pray in English so they
Yeah.
understand. But I ended up going to this church with someone very special in my life. And, I was like, okay, like, let's give it a shot. I did want, like, I was in the search for an English speaking church
Mhm.
just because it's like, it comes easier to me. And it was a while since I went to my old church. And I was like, maybe, like, this is going to be good. I wanted to be so much more involved as
Something
well.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I won't say I loved it right off the bat, but it was okay. I definitely went in a time where they all kind of just had like a group of like people around my age, and we sat down and we talked about real life problems. Like we talked about our feelings, and we talked about what was going on in life, and like how we can incorporate the Bible into our problems. And that really helped for so long. Like I felt like I just needed an outlet, and that was such a good outlet.
Yeah.
But I do have kind of like a weakness of trusting too fast, you know. But what are we supposed to think? Like you're going to a church, you're supposed to be like, well, this is a place where I
No
can be open.
judgment, no nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really how they painted themselves. But like after a little bit, like I really started analyzing because I'm a very big analyzer, and I can understand and know if I'm gonna like someone
Hmm.
from the very first conversation that I have. And if I don't like them after that, like, I'm just not gonna talk to them. Or even if they're, like, kind of like, "Oh, who knows?" I'm always being observant with them
Yeah.
at, like, every little thing. Even, like, how they talk to me or how much they trust me, like, I'm just like, "Okay, so I can't trust you like that
Who
either."
are you?
Yeah, exactly. Um, but it was okay for a little bit. Eventually, I started getting really involved, and, like, I did feel like I was getting really close to God, and I, like, loved that feeling. I had missed that feeling so much. So, I was like talking to them. I ended up getting therapy from the pastor's wife, and I ended up getting involved with like teaching kids, and eventually was gonna be taking care of like the little ones.
Hmm.
The
Sorry,
little
guys. I'm
ones.
looking at her nails.
Taking care of the little ones like on Sundays and stuff. I ended up working their coffee shop for them because I worked in a coffee shop before. Um, I was getting really involved, like really involved. And as I was getting involved with them, they were also getting really involved with me. And kind of like going back to your story, they put me on such a high pedestal, and like when I was going, like I told them like, like we talk about a lot of things, and like with the therapist and like all that stuff, like she'd do like therapy sessions and stuff. Like she definitely knew that I had certain goals for like marriage and like, my relationship with whoever I was going to be with, and stuff that I would wear and stuff that I wouldn't wear and stuff like that. And she definitely put me on a pedestal so fast to the point where it made me really uncomfortable because she would blatantly just tell me like, I wish you could have conversations with some of the girls that are in kind of like your age range, because you are literally what
Yeah.
we all need. Like you're
Yes.
like the perfect image of what a 21-year-old should be.
Yeah. Every like there was one point where they would just say like, "I wish everybody was like you," and it's
Yeah.
like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Or
because
they'd
then
pinpoint people. Like I
yeah.
remember one day they were like, Blink needs to be like
Yes.
Mia. And I said, okay, first of all, I never want to go to a place where
We're comparing.
exactly,
Yeah.
because then what does that make them feel like? It's
Exactly.
gonna be like, well,
I was gonna
now
say
I
the
hate
same
Mia
thing. Yeah.
because everyone's comparing me to her,
Yeah.
and everyone's telling me to be like her, and it's just like I don't want that either. I'm here to also make friends and build that community.
Hmm.
I don't want people to feel like they're kind of pushed to be like me because I'm also not perfect, you know? And she would always say that, and she just kind of say it to my face, and I just felt like it was belittling the other girls,
Hmm.
and I felt horrible because I was like, imagine I was in that position.
Yeah. Whenever I was in that position, even if they don't say it, you could just tell that they see you that way, and others can tell too.
Yeah,
And so, anytime I could tell somebody noticed that, either people around my age, older or younger, like everybody in a way felt threatened because of the image they had of me.
yeah,
Does it make sense? And so, I'm very humble and I'm very like, I don't think that way. I'm like, look, like I try and show the person whoever that person is that kind of feels that way towards me, I would show them that I'm not,
that's not me.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or it's like I don't want to be viewed that way. I
yeah,
am a person just like you are, and
yeah,
we are equal here,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and I definitely like was coming from a place where like the way I think about it is fake it till you make it. You want to be the best in the room. Like that's the mindset I want to walk into any room with, interview, whatever it is. I'm the best in the room. I have to be the best in the room. Like I don't like to lose, but I usually don't lose anyways type of mindset.
Yeah.
But that honestly made didn't even boost my ego, and I feel like it deteriorated me because I was like, "Okay, what if I fail now? What are they gonna say?" You know? And I genuinely like, if a church makes you feel like you should carry your burdens and your errors with you, and they make you feel like, you need to carry them, and
But you can't
you're
make
you can't
mistakes or
make mistakes,
anything.
and if you do, like, it's gonna weight on your shoulder, and
Yeah.
you need to tell us out loud. You need to confess your sins so that they can set you free. And, like, yes, the Bible says confess your sins so you can be set free
Yeah.
to God.
Exactly. I think it is privately. It doesn't have to
Exactly.
be in public.
Exactly. And they definitely were like, it has to be in public. So it
Or else
felt,
no te creo. That's
yeah,
how they were.
and it felt so horrible because
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of have that dynamic with my mom, but she never forced me to tell her. Like, she was my safe person. Like, I'd be like, "Mom, this happened," like, or "This is how I'm feeling." Even if it was the most embarrassing thing that you would never want to tell a parent,
Hmm.
I was gonna tell her, and that's how they made me feel. It's gonna weigh on your shoulders. You're not gonna be forgiven by God unless you tell me. And lo and behold, like, that's how it was, and that's how I felt. Any little mistake, you know, oh, I kissed this guy that I'm not dating. Hey, this is what happened. Like, that genuinely was a conversation, and I felt horrible, and I cried in that room because they made me feel so horrible
Yeah.
that I kissed someone I wasn't dating? And
Hmm.
it's not okay. Eventually I got in a relationship and I started kind of like couples therapy with that same lady, and she got really invested in our relationship and she just wouldn't butt out. And she eventually told me to break up with that person, and she was telling that person like the complete opposite, kind of like pitting us against each other. Like,
What?
we sat
Yeah.
down and we read the messages, like me and that other person, we read the messages and we're like, what the frick? That's the same day she's telling me to break up with you, that you're worth nothing, and then she's telling you this, and it's just like putting us against each other at that point.
Like two magnets repelling each
Yeah,
other.
exactly. And I had to tell her like, hey, like,
¿Qué onda?
like, I was like, I feel like we need to take a break from this like couples therapy thing. Like, I just want to take my relationship into my own hands, kind of handle it privately, because right now I feel like everyone's getting pulled into it. And I'm not gonna lie, like, everyone, like, this man, and it's probably just annoys me because it's a man, but he was pulled into our relationship, and he also has faults. He also has sins that he's committed with relationships as well. And he was like, the kind of girl that you are, like, obviously you have a good head on your shoulders, you're gonna hold blank accountable and all this stuff, but you need to find a place where it's just like he's the one that needs to lead you. You don't need to be telling him what he's doing wrong. And absolutely not. It's a relationship. I'm gonna tell someone if they're doing something wrong. If something doesn't align with my morals or anything, I am not gonna sit down and be like, "Oh, I am the woman. I'm less worthy." Like, that is not okay. And for them to be teaching that way, and that's how they were. Like, you're gonna be in the kitchen. Immediately, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I agree. Like me personally, I don't think I could do that as well.
No,
If that is you,
exactly.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, girl. Like, if you're happy, but when it's someone pushing you,
It's and you're like straight up like, hey, this
like,
is I
that's
don't
not
correlate with
okay.
this. They need
Yeah,
to respect that, you know?
exactly.
Yeah. Respect
And
boundaries
I
for
definitely
sure.
stood on business. Like, I was so disrespectful, but fully disrespectful in the most respectful way
Valid.
possible. Yeah, in the most valid way. Like, disrespectfully, fully
No,
disrespectfully,
thank you.
frick you. No, and I did, because I was like, I don't care if you're part of a congregation or if you're part of a church. I'm here and I'm giving you my respect, and you can't respect me. I'm not giving you back respect.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. We can be in a hospital, we can be in a church, we can be at a funeral, we can be anywhere. You don't respect me, I'm not going to respect you back, because that is not worth my time, and I'm not going to lose my sanity over you. Like, yeah, I told them, I was like, like, this is just not working out. Like, I'm asking you guys nicely and kindly and wholeheartedly. I'm telling you guys how I'm feeling. and I'm telling you guys that I need space from this, that I can't be, like, going on from, "This is what you need to do," because you're not even giving me advice, you're telling me what I need to do, and
Yeah.
that's not me being me.
You're not giving me my like, you're not letting me decide, you're just kinda telling me what to do, and if I don't do it, it's like
Exactly,
I'm the bad person
exactly.
or I'm doing something wrong.
So I couldn't
Yeah.
after that, it was just getting too much, and it was they were also, no offense to anyone, actually full offense to anyone
Oh,
that's listening. They're very MAGA. If you're MAGA, don't listen to our podcast. I don't care about you. I don't care about your opinion. So we both stand on business.
oh, there we go.
So, but they were very MAGA, like pushy in your.
Or if you are and you are curious to understand our views or respect our
You know how you know
reasoning.
what this reminds me of? That
What?
TikTok that's like,
Oh my
"Fuck you.
god!
We're so sorry she doesn't." No, I fully mean that. I fully mean that.
That's so funny. No, because for me, it's like if you're curious to see like how different people view that are not MAGA,
Mhm.
listen to our podcast. That because that definitely could spark something in you of like, oh, you
Yeah,
know what?
but also I feel like people are very stubborn, especially the people who are MAGA.
Mm.
So I don't even wanna, like, I don't even give them my sympathy anymore. I did before where I was just like, "Oh, I don't care, like, who you know, politically who you go for, like, as long as we have a good friend." No, you can't even be my friend if you don't have the human decency of knowing what humanity is at this point. It's not just about politics anymore, it's about human lives. So, respectfully, F off. But anyways, they were very mega and they were putting it in your face. First of all, do whatever the frick you want. Join whatever you want, like, like, believe and vote for whoever you want. It should never be put into a church. Ever. Like,
Yeah,
no, like, for what? It just divides people.
it's the opposite of what the church is supposed to represent.
Exactly. It's like, politics is the actual complete opposite of God is love.
Mhm.
Love thy neighbor. And with that being said, they were very, like, it was very in your face. Like, there was sermons full of, like, representing Trump and the flags, and it was like, oh my, like, after the 4th of July, like, service, I was like, okay, definitely know where I stand in their eyes.
Mm.
And I explained to them that, they were like, "Oh, what do you wanna be when
Yeah.
you grow up?" I was like, "Oh, a lawyer, like an immigration lawyer." And they were like, "Oh, just be one of the good ones. Don't be one of those bad ones that just, like, lets them come in." That's verbatim what they said to my face. And I said,
What?
"Okay, yeah, I need to leave this church." And I
Wow.
left it as respectfully as I could, and we just did not accept that. And afterwards, I found out that they were just talking crap about me after I left, making up these stories of, she's rebelling, and now her boyfriend that used to come here doesn't come here anymore because she, like, put this in his. I don't care who goes to what church. I don't care if my partner goes to a different church. I'm not putting anything in anyone's head. They can make their decisions for
Yeah.
themselves. And I think that's what bugged me so much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this was the church that you were going to at the time, but I do remember one time that you came up to me at work about a certain situation, and I don't know if it was that church, but I remember telling you that because I think it was something like they were just like having to opinionate on everything, and there was a certain I don't remember anymore, but basically, I straight up told you I was like, listen, let them talk, you
Yeah,
know,
I think it was, yeah.
yeah,
Because I told you and another one of my coworkers, and it was,
yeah.
yeah.
I was like, let them talk because the thing is, you know yourself as a person, right? And so whatever they're telling you is incorrect. Let whoever wants to believe that. Let whoever want to say that. The thing is, you know where you stand in your relationship with God, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Not for people to believe like not I mean not for people to know exactly where you and God is at. It's more just like you know where you stand, you know where you are in your relationship. So there's no point to prove anybody wrong or right. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's just kind of like continue being who you are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and it was definitely really hard. Like,
And
when
it is hard.
someone is painting your name as someone you, like, completely aren't, it's just like you just want to be like,
No, cállate.
what? Yeah, like, literally just shut up.
Stop.
Like, don't even talk anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely the most recent situation, and it
Mhm.
definitely changed my perspective on a lot of churches.
Yeah.
Some people are like, "Oh, come to church with me." I'm like, "No." Respectfully, no, I'll just stick to my church. But yeah.
Yeah. Definitely look, if you've had a bad situation at, you know, at church and stuff, like, to be honest, from them, I want to apologize because, like, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but basically, you didn't deserve to be treated that way or seen
Mhm.
that way. And so, like, if you feel like for whatever reason you feel like you are being pulled to either grow yourself spiritually with God or whatever it is, but you kind of feel like you're stuck because of how you were treated in back then, because of the people or the church or the community, genuinely, like, I want to apologize because that's
Yeah,
not a true Christian is not going to put you in those situations, and
exactly.
God doesn't want you in those situations.
And at the end of the day, you just have to like it definitely took me a really long time to grow from it, but I think it's who I am now.
Yeah,
I realized that
sometimes we got to go
um
through what we got to go through, you know?
exactly, and it just made me realize that not everyone is worth my time. Not every church is worth my time. You can have a relationship with God without having to go to church, and I
Hmm.
stand on that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously going to church is to me is like so much more fun and it's like exciting, but you don't need it. And I would say,
Accountability, maybe, you
yeah,
know,
and
just
if I would say like if you're trying to get back to a relationship with God, this is honestly just might be my opinion, but I would say, get in the word, study the word, and
hmm.
don't automatically find a church because there's a lot of wrong churches than there is right ones. And I think that wholeheartedly. Like you don't want to get into a congregation that isn't serving you and later on you're like, what the heck? I was like brainwashed because some of them won't brainwash you into thinking
Yeah.
their way. And then eventually what happens later on, you're like, okay, frick this. I'm atheist. And yeah, I think for a lot of people it's the way that the church has treated them. And that's so
Hmm.
sad.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I get from it.
So that's one thing, guys.
But yeah.
What do
Do
you?
you have another one?
I don't know yet, but I'm curious to hear yours.
I don't really know how I'm gonna word this one because it's just too much.
Hmm.
I guess
Another.
I guess
Mhm.
I could find a way to say it. I just won't go into detail with what this person did.
Okay.
Like a lot of the things they
Yeah,
did.
that's fine.
But I guess growing from also like a root of chaos would be, growing alongside someone who is very broken.
Mhm.
So this person, kind of grew up with them. They were kind of in my life all the time, but they were very broken from a very young age, unfortunately, and it's sometimes just the circumstances that people are put in. But I'm a true believer of hurt people. And
Okay.
this person has been very hurt, you know,
Mhm.
and they blame a lot of people for the way that they are. But at the end of the
Instead
day,
of like taking accountability in a way.
exactly,
Mhm.
yeah. So, kind of like, I'm just gonna dive into how it feels and kind of what I've learned from living and growing up or just being around someone who's very narcissistic and just doesn't know how to take accountability. But growing up with this specific person, everything had to be about them. If, like, everything. Like, if you got your nails done, I mean, these are just the little things. If you got your nails done and they looked absolutely amazing, and you went to Walmart and someone was like, oh, I love your nails, this person would get so mad because she was oh
Because they
yeah,
weren't.
because they weren't getting the attention they
Mhm.
was set on you. Or let's say you got the best score in the freaking grade and you made your mom so proud of it, your mom put it on the freaking fridge to display it. This person would be so upset that the focus wasn't on them. And it's just like the little things, like the focus not being on them. Or let's say, I don't know, you get married and you have this amazing wedding, and this wedding is just like off the roof and it's so beautiful and it's so customized to you. They will literally plan a wedding exactly like you.
Mhm.
Like because they want people to think that yours is better, like theirs is better.
Mhm.
Like they always want to one up you.
Mhm.
You get a boyfriend or you get a girlfriend and they're really pretty or they're really nice or people are like, "Oh my gosh, where did you find them?" They immediately want to remind you that their relationship is the best out there. That they've been together for 11 years, that they were high school sweethearts, that all this stuff. And it's
Mhm.
like you can't ever win. You can't ever just have something of your own.
Mhm.
And that's just kind of how it's been like
Mhm.
growing up with a specific person like that. And it kind of sucks sometimes because like a scenario that I had that I think I still hold on to a lot is I had a really good relationship with my mom and she was genuinely my best friend. Um but there's kind of like a pattern that kind of happens with this person. Once a specific person hits a certain age, she they um start like hating you, you know? They start nitpicking at what you do and who you talk to and how you dress.
In a way, they're always comparing themselves to everybody,
Exactly.
and
And
yeah.
it's just it's just a lot. But I think what has hurt me the most is having that good relationship with my mom and this specific person doing everything in their power to take it away hurts so bad because I remember that I had never in my life been like, frick my mom or mom, you're a, or I just can't with her. I never complained about my mom at all. I just couldn't even understand how people would.
Mhm.
My friends were like, "Man, frick my mom," and I'd be like, "Bro, what
Yeah.
the heck?"
Yes.
But I had never thought that in my entire life, and I hit that age where that person, I guess, was like, "Oh, the competition's beginning." They're old enough to compete now, and if I was wearing something, they had a problem with it. "Hey, mom, like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Is it okay with you?" "Yeah." And this person would figure out, "Oh my," and they go to my mom. "Why is she doing that? Why is she
Like,
hanging
a
out with
mi
this
mamá
person?"
dejaste this, and
Yeah,
mhm.
like, I didn't get that type of treatment, or you don't talk to me like that, or I don't get to do that stuff. I never got to do that stuff.
Mhm.
It got to a point where I literally one day I was in middle school and oh my goodness, by all means, why would a 13-year-old wear ripped jeans? Like, my school was so freaking strict about everything. I was wearing these ripped jeans. Mind you, they had patches underneath. So, like, it was rips, but you couldn't see anything. And I wore, shout out if you know who Fora is, but he's an artist.
Mhm.
And he had
To
a
the
shirt.
moon.
Yeah, exactly. He had a shirt that had been released, and
That's
I bought it,
mm.
and it said, "Love is Hell," quoting one of his songs, right? I mean, you know damn well I was gonna wear that to school. It was never a problem. They never told us we couldn't wear like hell is not a bad word, guys. Like if you think so, bro, what? Like everyone says it at school.
Mm.
Um, but I wore that and I went the entire day of school perfectly fine, didn't get dress coded, didn't get told anything. And before I left home with that outfit, my mom was like, "You better not get dress coded for your jeans." I'm like, "Nah, I won't," because they were very like big about ribs. Didn't get dress coded the whole day. I go to cheer practice, and this boomer of a teacher is like, "Ah, Mia, why are you wearing 'Love is Hell' on your shirt? Love isn't hell." I was like, "It's a saying from an artist. Like, chill, Karen." Like,
Mhm.
chill. Literally, her name was Karen.
Oh.
Like, yeah. And they just kept bugging me about it. They were like, "Yeah, guys, so tomorrow, like, come prepared. Don't wear a shirt that says 'Love is Hell.'" And they just kind of like were like nudging at me. And I literally turned around and I was like, "You guys can shut up now." Mind you, I was always so respectful, but I was so done with their crap. I was like, "You can shut up now." And I got in the car, and the specific person that I'm talking about picked me up from practice that day. And I was so angry and so butthurt about them just nitpicking at me. And I told them, "Guess what happened today?" And I was trying to, let it out and stuff. Well, this person goes and tells my mom, "Oh, Mia got dress coded." First of all, I did not get dress coded. Second of all, I didn't tell you so that you could go tell my mom and make it seem like it's something else.
Yeah.
Well, my mom goes crazy on me, thinking it's because of the jeans. I told you to not wear that. You don't listen to mind you, me and my mom had never like argued like this. Like she just
Yeah.
never yelled at me for no reason. She always
Mhm.
asked for my side.
Mhm.
This person knew how to play this, really get into like their own little way. She's like, I told you not to wear that. Like, why would you wear that? You don't listen to me. And I'm like, let me explain. Like, I'm like, you don't even know what happened. No, well, this person already told me. Like, I know you. They told me that you lie, and you tell me, can I just explain it to you, and then you just fixate something. Like, they told me you're already gonna lie. You already told them what you tell me. First of all, mom, when have I ever lied to you? Even if I knew I was gonna get in trouble, I'd rather tell you. You
The
know.
truth, yeah.
And I was like, wow, so you're gonna believe him? You're not even gonna let me have the opportunity to explain to you? And they were like, she was like, no, like I already know what happened and all this stuff. And I instantly started bawling. And I was like, okay, if you want to believe them. But I'm done with this conversation and I'm done with you. I don't want you to go into my room right now. I don't want anything to do with you because you're not trusting me.
You don't feel like you're being heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I went to my room and I was so mad. And this was definitely a rough patch in my life. Like I'm just telling you guys one story about it, but since I hit that age and like a good 3 years after that, it was just horrible. Like
Mhm.
me and my mom did not have a good relationship. She practically had to like beg me to get out of the room because I just didn't want to. I'd rather just stay in my room alone and read or do whatever the frick I wanted because I didn't want to be around that person and around anyone for that
Right.
matter.
Mhm.
But it was really hard and it definitely put me in a state of okay, I don't have my safe person. My mom's my safe person. She's my rock. I can't even lean on her. Who can I lean on? And it was definitely really hard. I definitely grew from it because I was like, okay, do you guys want to get on to me? Get on to me. I don't care. I definitely got a I don't give a
Temper or
fuck
mhm.
attitude, and I kind of still have it. I don't think it ever went away. But this person is still like this to this day.
Mm.
And you just kind of have to realize, they're in my life inevitably. You have to love from a
Gotta
distance.
accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely if you're going through something like this, don't hold back. Just say it. I held back for so long that now I'm like, you're not gonna disrespect me,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Boundaries definitely have to be set.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely hard growing up with someone like that. Um, but like now I'm just kinda like, like I can't let you do what you did to me and my mom's relationship
Mm.
again. I can't let that happen again. And yeah, I definitely eventually my mom like came to her senses and she was like, "Wow, like I didn't know that that was happening. I didn't know that they were painting this picture of you like that."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Yes, like next time, like I forgive you, but next time take the
Come to
moment."
me.
Yeah, exactly. Take the moment to listen to me. Even if my story isn't what you want to hear, okay, punish me. I don't care, but at least hear me out? But yeah, I think growing from that is kind of like realizing that you can't always lean on one person. They might turn their back on you. And I do forgive my mom for that. But I don't forgive that person for painting me that
Mhm.
way. Mainly because to this day, I'm like, that wasn't the truth. And now I've grown from like, being stubborn and I can accept when I'm in the wrong. I definitely was not in the wrong in that moment.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just,
How do you feel that you yeah. How do you feel like you've grown from that? Like having to grow up with somebody like that, how do you think that shaped you as a person
I'm definitely very careful. I definitely know
now?
when a
Mm.
friend is a friend and when they're not.
Mm.
So like on our last episode, we were talking about like Reddit stories and like
Mhm.
that friend situation.
Mm.
Definitely, like when you were reading that, I was thinking about this person
Mm.
because it's very the same. And I think growing from that is just kind of like realizing that they kind of set you up for success. Like, don't trust everyone. If someone thinks or acts like they like care about you, really like pay attention to everything they
Yeah.
say and the way that they act around you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that that's how I grew from it. I don't
Yeah.
believe in like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. Oh my gosh. No, I'm gonna read through your bullshit, you know?
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. I think it is you have to be careful with who and with what you share,
Yeah.
you know? But besides the point, I also think it's very important to like not having to like definitely it is so good to have people to share that with, right?
Mhm.
But let's say for a moment or that point in time there's literally nobody for whatever reason there could be, just even telling yourself, like you're so proud of yourself or like you're glad that you have yourself at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like you wouldn't be doing what you're doing without you being you.
Mhm.
And for those who support you, amazing, like that's
Yeah.
beautiful to see. And those who don't,
Okay,
well,
cool.
bye
Yeah.
bye. That's fine too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how I grew from it.
Mm-hmm.
Still dealing with it. Never gonna stop dealing with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yeah,
definitely
some
know how to
things just
navigate it, you know?
yeah, and not really get to you as much.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Oh, it definitely gets to me. I just don't show it.
But as much maybe.
Yeah. You don't talk a lot about your family.
Well, the thing is, well, it's also because it's so hard to. There's not much for me to
I
talk.
guess it doesn't really have to be about your family either. It could be like about friends. Because
Mm,
technically the first, well, not the first one, but the second one was technically not about my family.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Um. I guess, guys. I guess another to move on. I guess another what is it
scenario.
scenario for growing up in the chaos would be like kind of just growing up in general here in the US
Mhm.
with not really having, I mean for us, I mean for me, I don't know for both of us, but for me, I actually didn't have much of my family here, right? And so one, I didn't have much of my family here, and two, when I started going to school or like anywhere I'd be here, obviously there's not much of me, like
Mhm.
my color, my ethnicity, or people that are open to learning about culture or learning about your differences. So definitely growing up in that was kind of chaotic, as in like you just didn't know where you fit in or where you'd be comfortable in. I don't know, growing up it was like nobody in school was could like relate to things I was going through, or like you couldn't I didn't feel as comfortable to share them my things, I guess. One, I'm not gonna share anyway. But there's certain things that you just kind of wish you had somebody to relate to with, or feel like you're not alone, or you're not the only one going through it. But definitely did feel that way growing up with not having
No, yeah, I
that
can see
around.
that.
I don't know, just a lot of things. Mm. I feel like the culture here is definitely different to the culture, like my own culture, or my point of views or stuff like that. So it's just like I was very careful with what I would say, or like to who to say it to, or like what I open up. Even if they ask me certain things, I just kind of like if I'm not comfortable saying it, I kind of just go around the
Yeah.
question without giving too much away or anything.
Mhm.
I was definitely very protective over my family and stuff, and like being mindful of like who I truly like kept close and stuff, in a way that I also don't feel like I had very many close friends.
Mhm.
Cuz to be
I feel like
honest,
it's hard.
yeah, I mean to be honest, growing up, I rarely had friends over.
Really.
Like the only friends I usually had over were either people from church, which was not very many because we were a small church, or I don't know, like yeah, it was definitely hard in that
Mhm.
way. And also being the only girl and stuff, like you would okay, yes and no. Okay, guys, yes, I'm the princess of the house because I'm the only girl. But then again, that it felt lonely in a way.
Mhm.
Because like my brothers had each other. And I had a lot of guy cousins, boy cousins and whatever. Rarely any girl cousins. Or if I did, they were like babies when I was like
Mhm.
a child. You know what I mean? Like obviously I can't be playing I
You can't
basically
be
had
talking
nobody at
about
yeah.
yeah, stuff that happened.
Yeah, in a way I didn't feel like I could really I had to be super independent, I feel like.
Mhm.
Yeah. Super independent into like helping my family or just myself in general because like I'm the only girl or I don't have anybody that could kind of guide me in this. You know, I was kind of yes, I'm the second oldest, but
Mhm.
growing up definitely felt like I was the oldest. And I had to experience a lot of things by myself without any guidance.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of like figure it out by myself, which was it was a little chaotic, but hey, I'm here. Definitely the reason why I'm independent, I feel
You
like,
came out
and
pretty
why
okay. Some
I'm
people don't.
very yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like I do me, and if you're okay with that, perfect. If you're not okay with that, that's okay too. But I'll probably not keep you around. You
Yeah.
know, like if you're not benefiting me or I'm not benefiting you, it's best we don't be close. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
It was hard.
I definitely get that. I had a lot of white friends. And this is not just like going out there for like white people, but that's all I had as friends like, growing up in like the school I was going to. And it was definitely hard, because they didn't grow up with what I grew up. They, I mean, their relationships with their mom was not how mine was, Like they were the types to be like, "Frick you, mom," or
Yeah,
"Ah, I hate my mom," and I was like, "Okay, I can't relate," but
genuinely. Look, if you have a valid reason, okay, understandable, I
mhm.
guess.
But also like if you
But
live with
you
your mom,
know,
yeah,
yeah, you just know when people are just saying things to say it and they're not. You're just kind of like,
yeah,
what's the point? You
yeah,
know, like what are you trying to get from this?
yeah,
Yeah.
and like that was definitely, I feel like that's definitely hard for all of us. But yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, I had friends over well, these two friends over all the time, and I was always over, and I mean, sometimes I'd spend the whole weekend at their house. I was very like, I guess if someone would look at me when I was younger, I was very like whitewashed. I was very like I was doing all the things. I was
Mm-hmm.
that little Visco girl with those little, white girls. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying white girls like if it's a bad thing, it's not, guys. But that's all I had, you
Yeah.
know? And I definitely didn't relate to them the way that I wanted to. So really like half the time that I felt like I needed to get something off my chest, I really wouldn't because I was like, okay, I don't know how that's gonna like happen. I don't know how they're gonna respond. Yeah, I definitely wish that I could have had someone that I was like, "Oh, like, my mom's cooking this for dinner," and them getting
Come
excited.
over. Yeah.
But I feel like now with that, I guess it didn't make me grow from it, but now it's kinda, like, scary. I don't really have, like, other than, like, Hispanic friends.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do, I'm not gonna lie, this might make me sound like really bitchy, but that's okay because
Oh well.
I definitely that's also something that's funny. I definitely learned from one some of our podcasts and like knowing that some people don't or didn't really like a certain episode. That I'm not gonna lie, really like it. Like I got butthurt
Mm-hmm.
about certain people not liking a certain episode,
Mm-hmm.
but then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this for you guys.
Yeah.
I don't really even know if I'm doing it for myself. I'm just living. And yeah, I'm so unapologetically me. And I
Mm-hmm.
think if someone is so butthurt from that, grow from it. I used to be that way where I was like, "Oh my gosh, why are they talking about their feelings that way? Like, why are they just putting that out there? Like, do they not have common decency of thinking that someone might also feel a different way about them
Mm-hmm.
or about what they think? I don't care. Like, if you don't believe the same things I believe and you're not really respectful about it, I don't really care what you think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like I definitely after you told me that and I was like, oh, I talked to my boyfriend about it. And he's like, okay, why do you care? Like,
Yeah.
you're the one feeding yourself. You're the one putting yourself to sleep. You're the one. It's you. You know who you are. If
Mm-hmm.
they thought that that was like a little too much, or if they think that your personality isn't really like their cup of tea, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be their cup of tea. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're right. But yeah, now I feel like this might sound really mean, but I feel like a lot of quote unquote like Hispanic girls our age insufferable. I can't get along with them. we kind of like fit this agenda of kind of being like,
Las
yeah,
tóxicas.
like really toxic and really like, oh, she got with my man, or I'm like, oh my gosh, can we just get in our senora era already and like be friends? Like, I
Yeah.
really don't want to be a that type of like person to be getting into arguments with people or then be really like I don't I guess people like classify them or like judge them to be like really out there and really like spicy Latinas and snappy with everyone. I don't want that. You know, a
No.
lot of people that I've met that I'm like gonna be friends with their life that I'm like, oh, I'm not like
The
that.
thing is, look, the bad thing is that what is it? It's like certain people kind of like make that as if that's the stereotype or if that's who we are, but it's not.
It's not.
And that what kind of bothers me because it's like,
Because then some of them want to fit that stereotype, and I'm like,
mhm.
that's when I can't get along with you.
Or they see you that way whenever you're not, and it's like,
Yeah,
yo ni hice nada, bro. What?
literally.
Like, just because so and so is doing this and saying this and da da da,
Doesn't mean that I'm
doesn't
like
mean I'm the
that.
same way.
Yeah. And that was definitely hard, even working where we were working. Like, I think, and this is a little mean to say, but I think we were the only two that were kind of just chilled out. I think the rest of them were kind of like a little out there, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, you know? I don't know if I agree with what you're doing or
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying or how you're acting. And I feel like that after that, it was kind of like downhill because people would compare us. I mean, not us, but like I never told you these stories, but there was 3 instances where they were like, "Oh, this person's a better Latina than you are." First of all, never say that to my freaking face because you're literally gonna get freaking choke, like get in the chokehold.
That's crazy.
And it's the way that this that girl would respond to it. It was almost like she liked that we were getting compared, and that's where I was like, yeah, I can't be friends with other people like you.
No.
I'm pretty sure you're having like kind of an idea of who it was because I told you I really wanted to be friends with this person. But then I realized kind of like who they were and how they acted. But yeah, it's kind of like sad when, and like I feel like most of them also want to be in competition with you.
Mm.
I'm like, guys, you're supposed to be a community. Let's not be like that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say. I definitely agree with growing up and not having those kind of
Mm.
friends. But I feel like now like the outcome of that is now I'm scared to be friends with people that are the same minority as me.
Mm.
Just because, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna add this earlier, but se me olvidó. But just like even because I mentioned I didn't. To be honest, I rarely or not ever really had friends over,
Mhm.
even like Hispanics.
Mhm.
But it's because again, I just didn't really have that connection with a lot of people.
Mhm.
I feel like because of the person I am, it is very hard for me to connect with certain people or like bring them into my personal life or like a place where it's very vulnerable to me
Right.
and like something that I'm super protective over.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna just bring toda la chusma over and be like, here, choose,
Right.
like chusma, chusma. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but so that definitely made me now or even during that time just kind of like I'm comfortable by myself because of that.
Mhm.
And whoever can value who I am as a person and I'm comfortable with having them in my life, I definitely will. But if not, we can be acquaintances. I could be friendly towards you, but bringing you into my personal life will probably be a no go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just who you are though. Cuz we've been
Yeah, but I
close
think
friends for a
it's
while.
because I grew up that way. Because
Yeah.
I was always very like observant and like
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's just who you
Just
became
me,
also. Just you.
just
Cuz I
me.
feel like that happens with us sometimes where you're like, "I'm not ready to talk about that." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's because there's one thing I could have mentioned today, guys, but it's just not the time. And that is to respect that person as well.
Yeah.
That's why. Anyways, we are an hour.
Okay, slay. Well, that was the end of this episode.
Of the No Posad podcast.
I don't know how we end it.
Okay, fine.
Anyway,
Just okay.
let us know how you've grown from something. Maybe
Mhm.
you guys grew from something.
Or if you're
Or
still
also,
growing from it or learning from those experiences
yeah.
and that chaos.
And if you got to the end, comment
Yay! Yeah, you
a
guys know
book
freaking
emoji.
comment. A book?
A book
Ooh.
emoji. You guys
You
would
know,
know.
because we're talking about like our stories
Yeah,
or
our life
whatever.
stories and stuff. So yeah, we'll know who the real ones are.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
Watch no one comment.
Yeah, so
Cool.
nobody. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Anyways,
okay.
right. Bye.
Bye.